My wife accused me of SA after I discovered her affair, then the truth came out and my lawyer had the perfect response that made her regret everything and now she's scrambling. I need to get this story off my chest and maybe help others who find themselves in similar situations. What happened to me was beyond devastating. It wasn't just about discovering my wife's infidelity, but about facing false accusations that could have ruined my entire life. It all started 3 months ago when I began noticing subtle but concerning changes in my wife Sarah's behavior. Looking back now, I should have seen the signs sooner, but love has a way of blinding us to the obvious. We'd been together since college, 4 years of dating and 6 years of marriage that I thought were filled with mutual trust and respect. Sarah was always the more outgoing one between us, the life of every party, while I was content being the steady, reliable one. Maybe that should have been my first clue that things weren't as perfect as I believed. We'd been married for 6 years, and I thought we had a solid relationship. She started working late more often, being protective of her phone, and growing distant. The classic signs were there, but I didn't want to believe it. One evening, while Sarah was supposedly at a work dinner, I received a call from my friend Mike who saw her at a restaurant across town, with another man. They were clearly more than just colleagues based on how intimate they appeared. My heart sank, but I needed concrete proof before confronting her. Over the next week, I carefully documented everything while trying to maintain a facade of normalcy at home. Each late night was noted in a digital journal, along with screenshots of mysterious text messages that would pop up on her phone at odd hours. I tracked unexplained expenses, fancy restaurant charges in parts of town where she claimed to never go, hotel bookings disguised as business meetings, and new clothing that I never saw her wear at home. The final straw came when I noticed a significant withdrawal from our joint savings account, money we'd been setting aside for a down payment on our dream house. That's when I made the difficult decision to hire Mark Stevens, a highly recommended private investigator. The cost wasn't insignificant, but I needed to know the truth. Mark's report came 3 days later, complete with timestamped photos and video evidence that confirmed my worst fears. Sarah had been having an affair with her co-worker David for the past 4 months. The details were gut-wrenching. They'd been meeting 3 times a week at a boutique hotel downtown, using lunch breaks and fabricated client meetings as cover. David, I learned, was married too, with 2 young children at home. When I finally confronted her with the evidence, I expected denial, tears, maybe even remorse. Instead, what happened next changed my life forever. Sarah's face transformed from shock to something calculated and cold. She told me that if I tried to divorce her or tell anyone about the affair, she would accuse me of something horrible. I didn't take her threat seriously at first, that was my mistake. The very next day, I was contacted by the police. Sarah had filed a report claiming I had assaulted her multiple times during our marriage. I was absolutely stunned. Not only were these accusations completely false, but they also could destroy everything I'd worked for, my career as a teacher, my reputation, everything. My hands were shaking as I called the best lawyer I could find, James Anderson. Thank goodness I did, because what he told me probably saved my life. Document everything. Don't delete any messages. Don't contact her. And most importantly, don't leave your house, she's trying to get you to run. The next few weeks were an absolute nightmare that tested every ounce of my strength and sanity. Sarah's accusations spread through our social circle like wildfire, carefully crafted to make her appear as the long-suffering victim who had finally found the courage to speak out. She had apparently been preparing for this, laying groundwork with subtle hints to friends over the past months about being afraid and walking on eggshells at home. Our tight-knit neighborhood community, where we'd hosted countless barbecues and holiday parties, suddenly became hostile territory. People who had been at our dinner table just weeks ago now crossed the street to avoid me. Anonymous notes appeared in our mailbox, some expressing support for Sarah, others containing threats and warnings. One morning, I woke up to find someone had spray-painted a horrible word on my car. Some friends immediately took her side without even hearing my version. My principal called me in for a meeting. Someone had forwarded Sarah's social media posts to the school board. Following protocol, I was placed on administrative leave pending investigation. But James proved to be more than just a lawyer. He became my strategist and voice of reason when I felt like I was losing my mind. His methodical approach to building our defense was brilliant. First, he had me gather months of security footage from our apartment building, which clearly showed Sarah coming and going freely during the time she claimed she was trapped at home. The timestamps were crucial, showing her cheerfully walking out in workout gear or evening attire at the exact time she later claimed she was being held against her will. James also hired a digital forensics expert who recovered deleted messages and location data from our shared cloud account, something Sarah had forgotten existed. The data painted a clear picture of her movements, completely contradicting her official statement to the police. Most damning were her location pins at the hotel during times she claimed to be hiding from my rage at her sister's house. He subpoenaed her phone records and text messages, including deleted ones, which showed her coordinating with David to fabricate stories. Most importantly, he found her online search history with queries like how to fake abuse evidence and false allegations in divorce. The turning point in this nightmare came when Sarah's best friend Lisa came forward, though her decision to help wasn't immediate. Lisa later told me she had spent weeks wrestling with her conscience. She had discovered Sarah's detailed journal outlining the entire revenge plan after Sarah had carelessly left it at Lisa's house during one of their regular coffee meetings. Lisa had been holding on to screenshots of conversations where Sarah had bragged about manipulating mutual friends and planning her false allegations. The messages were chilling in their calculation. Sarah had researched similar cases online, studying what evidence had worked best and what mistakes to avoid. She had even started taking acting classes 3 months before, supposedly for self-improvement, but actually to practice appearing traumatized and fearful in public. Apparently, Sarah had confided in her about the affair months ago and recently asked for help constructing the abuse allegations. Lisa had refused and kept messages where Sarah admitted it was all a lie to make him pay for discovering her affair. When presented with the mountain of evidence, Sarah's carefully constructed facade finally crumbled. It happened during a meeting with both our lawyers present, a meeting I'll never forget. She walked in wearing her practice victim expression, but as James methodically presented piece after piece of evidence, I watched her composure crack like thin ice. Her hands started shaking when he showed the hotel receipts. She burst into tears at the recovered text messages. But it was Lisa's evidence that finally broke her completely. The confession that followed was both vindicating and heartbreaking. Sarah admitted not just to the affair and false allegations, but to orchestrating a months-long campaign to isolate me from our friends and family. She had systematically planted seeds of doubt about my character, using her natural charm and social connections to turn people against me before I even knew what was happening. When asked why, her answer was simple but chilling: I couldn't let him tell everyone about my affair. I had to discredit him first. The police dropped their investigation, and my school reinstated me with a formal apology. Within 2 months of Lisa coming forward, the divorce proceedings were concluded. James had prepared meticulously, presenting not just evidence of her false allegations but also detailed financial records showing how she had misused our joint accounts to fund her affair. The judge, a stern woman in her 60s, listened to everything with an increasingly troubled expression. When she delivered her ruling, her words were sharp and clear: the court has rarely seen such a calculated attempt to destroy someone's life.